The Paw, Manitoba, a town of about 5,500 people. That number hasn't changed much in 50 years, and some say what was hidden beneath the surface in this northern town is still present today, and maybe even more overt.
Growing up here has been a difficult thing. There's racism here, alive and well.
I still feel it every now and then when I go into stores. Like when I'm dressed in my regular clothes, I get followed around and stuff like that.
Helen Betty Osborne came here from Norway House to attend high school. Very few people knew Osborne. Her life was cut short at 19 years old. She was kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and killed. 4 young men were connected to the incident. 2 of the men were charged, but only 1 man was convicted of the murder about 16 years after she died. Her story became well known for how she died. Her death considered one of the first MMIW, missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls stories of the last 50 years. Rita McIvor knew the young Cree woman in another way, though. Full of life, smart, and shy. They were friends and sat next to each other in high school. Rita says she knew her simply as Betty.
And how did you know her?
Well, for the short time, I knew that when she came to school, she was so well dressed, neat. She looked after everything, her stuff for school. She was so prim, proper, but she liked to laugh, but shy. I always remember that shyness.
Rita says she was surprised to see her shy friend hours before she was kidnapped, assaulted, and killed. She ran into her downtown and was concerned for her.
She didn't want to go home. She just said, "That's okay." And I said, "Come on, I'll take you home." And she got away on me. That was the last time I seen her.
Details of how Helen Betty Osborne died came out in 1987 at the Aboriginal Justice Inquiry. Helen Betty was walking home alone on November 12, 1971, when a group of young men looking to have sex with someone saw Betty as an easy target, picked her up, bound her, sexually assaulted her, and left her for dead near this pump house about 30 kilometers away from the Paw. It took 15 years for people in the town to speak up about what they knew. The AJI report says many people knew who were involved, but chose to do nothing about it. The townspeople considered the murder unimportant because she was Indigenous.
How much anger is done to a human being to be stabbed 57 times? That must have took a lot of anger and a lot of hate on First Nations women.
Her family remains the most impacted, though, including her cousin, Gordy Ross. Her death made him want to work as a police officer, and he wanted to work in Opaskwayak Cree Nation, a reserve just on the other side of this bridge to the Paw where she was taken from.
What do you think of that bridge?
There's a bridge there, sure, but obviously there's still a divide.
A divide, he says, that still puts people's lives in danger. Ross says Betty's memory and life inspired him to get as close as he could to her now, hoping to prevent others from dying the way she did. He moved from his home reserve, Bemidjigamak, and lives on the town side near the area where Helen Betty was abducted.
If Betty were alive today, what would you want her to know about your efforts to prevent deaths like hers?
If she was alive today?
Mm-hmm. Or if you had a chance to talk
to let her know. It'd be like, I'm trying. I'm here for our people, and I'm trying.
It's been 50 years since Helen Betty Osborne was targeted, assaulted, and murdered. 30 years since the Aboriginal Justice Inquiry exposed the racism that fueled the hate. That, in turn, fueled the crime. That, in turn, fueled the cover-up. Now, decades later, Indigenous women and girls are still being grieved and remembered. And despite more than 290 recommendations from the AGI, the message is clear. Not enough has changed. Stop killing us. Sheila North, CBC News, Opaskwayak, Cree Nation.